Hi everybody, I decided to do something a little bit different today. I am doing the Get to Know Your Witches hashtag that was created by Little Cosmic Crow. It's got some fun questions. I've been watching lots of other people's videos answering these questions, and I decided to get on the bandwagon even though I'm a little late to the party. I'm always a little late to the party, but I do get there eventually. So stick around and get to know your witches better.
I'm Mickey Mueller. Welcome to my studio.
Okay, if you're new to my channel, I'm Mickey Mueller, author, illustrator, and witchy woman. I bring you weekly videos with spells, witchy tips, and other tidbits for living your magical life. If you haven't yet, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you'll get notifications when I upload new videos. Okay, so I've got my list because these are questions that were put forth by Little Cosmic Crow, who's another YouTuber, and I've been watching all kinds of people answer these questions, and it's a lot of fun. So I figured I would just take this opportunity to jump in and answer them as well. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first question that Little Cosmic Crow asks is, does your sun sign or zodiac sign portray you correctly? If not, what other planetary signs? Yeah, I'm a typical Aquarian. I'm a freak of the week. Kind of a weirdo. March to my own drummer. I like to be creative. I care about human rights. I try to be friendly with people. That's one thing that they do say about Aquarians is that we're aloof. And I don't really think I'm aloof. I think I'm really more like, sometimes I just need my space. I think they call it an extroverted introvert, where I like to go and hang out and be like, hey man, what's up? Let's hang out and have a good time and headbanging at the front of the stage. And then, that was a lot. I need to take a break, and I have to go and just kind of find my focus and grounded center and kind of be chill and alone and quiet. And so that's kind of me, but yeah, I'm kind of a typical Aquarian. I love, love, love to do research. That's one of my favorite things to do, and that's kind of weird, and watch documentaries. Arts and entertainment, those are things that are really important to me. Human rights are important to me. So yeah, I'm a typical Aquarian. So the second question is, what songs bring you the most magical vibe? And yeah, I've got a few different ones. If I'm honest, I like old school rock, but I also like a lot of new music too. So, you know, I kind of walk the line there. I love music. I love music. And I've got a lot of ties in with music that goes way back. You know, I love to sing in the car, in the shower, when I'm cooking. But also I used to support bands in St. Louis, and by, you know, promoting and doing artwork for them, stage design and stuff like that. So yeah, music is really, really, really important to me. And I think that all music in a way has witchy vibes one way or another, because music is energy and it can change your mood, and it can psychologically it can change your mood and stuff like that. But specifically, specific songs that bring me a witchy vibe, I guess the first one that comes to my mind is Dancing in the Moonlight by King Harvest. Every time that song comes on the radio, I'm like, I want to be dancing in the moon, dancing in the moonlight. So that's a great one. Anything by Fleetwood Mac, specifically Stevie Nicks, and I guess that's kind of a typical answer to that question. But I've been a huge fan of Stevie Nicks since I can remember, ever since I first listened to Rumors when I was a little kid, you know, when I was in like middle school, I guess. I don't know how old I was. I feel like she's been part of my life. I also, there's some songs by The Cure that to me give like a total witchy vibe. There's Fleet Foxes, which is a band that I've been listening to recently that just, to me, it sounds so haunted and just makes me go, ooh, there's something happening there. I listen to Deva Premal sometimes when I'm setting up my altar or getting into sacred space and preparing for a spell or a ritual that I'm doing. I think Abney Park also has kind of that haunted, magical quality. And Regina Spektor also, who I really love, and also has kind of that vibe to her music. And I feel like it's powerful music. It's powerful music in a way that, you know, you feel something strong in that music. Which one of your deities slash guides slash ancestors is the most sarcastic with you? If this doesn't apply to you, which of your tarot decks is? All right, well, I work with a lot of different deities and a lot of different pantheons because of the work that I do, because I'm an artist and illustrator, and I illustrate them, and I work with them magically in order to create the illustrations. I use herbs and stuff in my paint, watercolor washes, to magically connect to them so that I can, like, you know, communicate and feel their vibe and everything while I'm creating the art. So I work with a lot of them, and I don't really get a lot of sarcastic vibes from any of them. Hang on, it's so hot up here. This was full of ice, and now it's like, there's none. Yeah, I don't really usually feel very sarcastic vibes from any of them. I think the gods laugh at me, mostly. I think they just think, oh, she's so silly. You know, like you do like a little kid who's like done something ridiculous, you know, like they pick you like a handful of dandelions and the dirt's falling off of them and they're all wilted and you're like, I got this for you. That's the vibe I get at. They're like, she's adorable. I don't pay attention to messages, or if which we all do. Nobody's perfect, right? I've been doing this for years and years and years, but, you know, I'm just having an off day and I'm like, you know, calling in the elements or the quarters and I, you know, get mixed up or something. I just feel like they're patting me on the head. Going, it's okay, we love you anyway. Ancestors, I have heard messages from my ancestors. Usually my recent ancestors are kind. When I get messages from them, they're just pure love. But sometimes I get messages from my ancient ancestors, which I think is just kind of like, it's like genetic memory. Once I was in a grocery store and putting stuff in my cart, and I was super broke, kind of regretting to myself and being like, oh, I wish I could afford the things that I really want and stuff like that. And I heard a message from my ancestors, and it was basically, and this is like ancient ancestors, and they were like, basically, when the times got hard and we couldn't find what we needed, we moved to a different place where we could do better hunting. So why don't you do the same? Why are you hunting in the same place, basically, was the message I was getting. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that's kind of true. They didn't mean go to a different grocery store. What they meant was, what are you harvesting? Why aren't you trying a different way to harvest, you know? Why are you getting your abundance from a place that you know can't give you any more abundance than you're getting? Basically, why are you in a dead-end job? You know? I've gotten messages like that to kind of jumpstart me into a better direction. Why don't you do something different? Do something you're meant to be doing. And I have, so it's like, that's kind of cool. But yeah, not really sarcastic, just kind of more, hey. What is your biggest witchy mess up or in misinterpretation? Yeah, okay. I thought long and hard about this one, and I thought about these questions. I'm not just reading them off the cuff, because I've been watching other people's videos too. Obviously, this hashtag isn't brand new. And I thought about this one a lot, you know, because there's always like little things, but nothing really, you know, comes to mind as being this was a huge mistake or something. You know, I haven't like cast a spell and accidentally blown up a house or something. But the one that does come to mind, and again, I thought really long and hard on this, but my biggest witchy mistake was also my biggest mistake in life. And I think that was to not trust myself and to trust other people's opinions of me more than I trusted my own opinion of me. To listen to other people's interpretations of who they think I am versus who I know I am. And that's easy to do, and I'm sure lots of people have done that. So, I mean, if you find yourself listening to people more than you listen to yourself, that's a problem that you need to rectify. And, you know, we've all been there. I've been there. And it's okay to come to that realization and say, wow, what have I been doing? It's okay to do that. The key is to make the decision to make a change, you know. And again, it's really easy to listen to other people, you know, say, oh, well, you know, you're the artist, or, you know, you're the Reiki master, and so, you know, that's just who you are, and, you know, stay in your box and do this only, you know. Don't try to step outside of your comfort zone and do different things, you know. I don't want to hear your opinion on herbs because, you know, I know that you're chakra girl, you know, or something like that, you know. I know, you know, I don't think you can write because you're the artist, you know. I don't need that. I don't need that because now I'm doing both. So I think that not listening to my own voice and listening to the voices of others above my own voice was probably my biggest witchy mistake. And one of the things that held me back at one point, but you know, I try really hard to not do that anymore, and to try to listen to myself more. And I think that it's a good thing to do that. Okay, so the next question is, would you write a book on your craft, spirituality? Why? If you already have, what were your challenges in doing so? I have written a few books on my craft and spirituality. It's pretty cool. I've written 3 books. One of those 3 books went with an oracle deck. I also illustrated the how do you say it? I also illustrated the oracle deck. And then I co-wrote another book for a tarot deck with my husband, who wrote the lion's share of that. And I'm working on a proposal for another book right now, actually, so that's kind of cool. I guess the biggest challenge for me on writing was, I had a few, you know. The first one was obviously what I was just saying, is believing in yourself, you know, because that's a big thing to put that out there and just say, I'm going to write a book now, you know. I mean, I don't have a college degree. You know, what gives me the right, you know, and you get that whole thing going on, but you can't do that, you know. You have to write from your own perspective and from your practice, do the research, learn, grow, and just freaking do it, you know. I mean, that's the thing that, you know, for me, it was just freaking do it. The other biggest challenge for me when writing a book so far, this is what I found, and this new one I'm working on is going to be a little bit different, so we'll see how that lines up. But my previous books that I've written, Llewellyn's Little Book of Halloween and The Witch's Mirror, both of those books were part of a series of books and had a very specific word count in mind to start with. And both of those were topics that I could have probably written a lot more on, but the word count is pre-decided, you know, for you, and because it has to fit in with the length of books that are in the series. So yeah, editing myself is a big thing that has been hard for me. And not really hard, but it's a challenge. It's just how I write, you know. I write. I tend to be a little long-winded, and I end up with way more. And every time I write lots of articles and stuff for Llewellyn too, and every time I write anything, this is just my method. I just write the shit out of that thing, and then I go back through and I check the word count, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm over. Okay, well, what did I discuss that I can leave out and it won't hurt the article or the, you know, chapter or whatever? And so I go through and I edit and I pull stuff so that I could fit that word count in. And that's just how I write. And it's probably a good thing, because I do usually realize that there's stuff in there I didn't need. But you know what, that's okay, because the book I'm working on now is not part of a series. It's just a standalone book. 'Cause I've written a few and I'm like really ready to dive in. And you know what, it feels good to be doing it again. The reasons that I write is because I get excited when I do research and when I discover or invent something new. Like if I invent a new way of doing specific kind of magic, you know, a new way of doing things, I get really excited and I want to share it with people. And then the second reason is I have a terrible memory. Yeah, I have this really bad memory. So another reason I like to write stuff is because, like, then I know I can find it. I've done this a ton, you guys. Like, you know, if I'm working on something and I'm like, oh, I wrote an article about that hand, and I go dig around in my books and I'll find it and I'll be like, yeah, there's there's a recipe for my Florida water that I had in this article, you know, it's easier for me to find it that way. Okay, if someone wanted to summon you to their circle, what 5 items would they need? That's a pretty good one. I think that's kind of a fun question. I think this would work, you know, to those of you who wish to summon me to your circle. I think these things would work. So here's this, and because I forget things, I wrote it down. Here are the spell ingredients that you need to summon me to your circle. First of all, you're going to have to go to a mountain, and not a hill, but a mountain, because I grew up in New Mexico, and near the Sandia Mountains, and that is like my total happy place. I love that. So you're gonna need to go to a mountain, you know. Bring some dark chocolate. The darker chocolate, the better. Black as night, yes please. Some kind of spicy food, and I'm talking Indian food. You could bring Mexican food. Something with Hungarian paprika is like comfort food to me, and I only discovered it, you know, within the last, like, I don't know, 5-6 years or something, but I just love it, and for me it tastes like home. It feels like home. So yeah, something like that, something spicy. I love spicy food. And then new art supplies. And it's like, okay, art supplies are expensive. Just grab a box of unopened crayons, because that would probably summon me too. I used to drive everybody crazy when I was a little kid, and they would say, what do you want to play today? You know, do you want to do this? Do you want to play with Barbies? And I was like, let's color. And they'd be like, again? That's one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, fresh box of crayons or some new art supplies, that'll bring me. Lilacs are my favorite flowers, so have some lilacs there. That would be lovely. And the scent of lilacs would probably draw my spirit in. And when I get there, have a nice cold mojito waiting for me, okay? With some fresh mint in there. Yeah, that would be great. So, yeah. Mountaintop, dark chocolate, spicy food, new art supplies, a mojito, and lilacs. I think that would work. I think that spell would actually work. So, okay. If you were a ghost, what place would you haunt? I kind of love this question because, you know what, it depends on what's your mythos for ghosts, you know what I mean? I mean, if it's like Beetlejuice, then like they couldn't really go anywhere, or they'd end up on Saturn with the sandworms, you know? So it's like, I guess it depends on a lot of factors. And we don't really know how that's all going to work out, right? So, you know, if I end up no longer corporeal, am I going to be ended up having to stay in the last place I was when I died? I hope not, because, well, I don't know where that will be. Maybe it'll be a really cool place. Or do you just go where your heart is always happy? In which case, I'd probably be wandering around the Sandia Mountains in New Mexico, in Albuquerque. I go there in dreams a lot. And I find that when I wake up after having a dream that I've been at the Sandia Mountains, I'm like so relaxed and happy. So it's like, why would I not want to go there? And then, I don't know, if you get to decide where you go, well, I'd go everywhere. I'd be all over the place. But you know what I've always said that I would really love to do? And this is like the bad side of Mickey. Because you guys think I'm nice, but I'm not always nice. I love scaring the heck out of people on Halloween. I think I would go find my friend, Lisa Yeager, who I started scaring people with years ago. And if you read my little book of Halloween, you know about Lisa and I. I think I will go find her in the afterlife and say, hey, it's Halloween. Let's go scare people. And I think that we will be out scaring people on Halloween night. Yeah. What is... See, I've got a light up there because the sun keeps going in and out. And the light is like making this big ring in my eyes, and then I have to read the sheet, and I'm like, yeah, I can't read it. Okay. What is the funniest way that someone has reacted to finding out you're a witch? Okay, so it's funny, but not in the way that you think funny. You know, like, I guess people have stories about how You know, people were like, oh, you're gonna go to hell and all this stuff. Okay, but my funny story about how some, because most people haven't reacted really weird or anything to me. Most people are just like, okay, or they're like, that's cool, or, you know, I've really been very blessed that I've gotten a lot of good positive reactions, you know. Once they know me, and they're like, it can't be that bad because she's just kind of like, the worst thing she does is scare kids on Halloween. The funniest way that someone reacted when they found out that I was a witch was actually my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, who's this very stoic, no nonsense, kind of isn't into whimsy kind of woman. And this was early 90s, and I was studying Wicca, and kind of read a lot of books, you know, the Scott Cunningham books and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, this sounds just like what I believe, you know. And it was like coming home, you know what I mean? Like, you know, they weren't all Wicca. They were, some were Wicca, some were witchcraft and stuff like that. And my grandmother found out, and here was what she said. And I love this. And this is so her. She said, oh, well, we have a woman at our Unitarian church that's Wiccan, and she's really nice. So I guess it was okay. And I thought it was funny. I guess you almost had to know her to know, but yeah, that was my grandma. Anyway, do you have any superstitions? Not really. Because I feel like superstitions are things that you think are somehow metaphysically going to happen that you don't have any control over happening. And I don't think I ever really was super superstitious. Super superstitious. I guess I'm not superstitious, maybe a little stitious. Anyway, no, I don't think I was ever very superstitious, but I think that once I started practicing magic, I actually became, in a way, less superstitious, because I don't feel like, I feel like being a witch is empowering, and I don't feel like there's anything crazy that can happen to me that I can't freaking handle, you know? So I'm like, if I spill salt, I clean it up, you know? If I walk under a ladder, I usually do it on purpose just to be that kind of person. But if I do walk under a ladder, I make sure there's nobody on the ladder and that it's not precariously situated, you know. If I open an umbrella in the house, I'm very careful not to knock things over. It's like little things like that. And I think that, I don't know, once you dig into a lot of the superstitions and you find the reasons behind them, you're like, I'm not really so worried about that. The other interesting thing about superstitions, though, is that they're tied in a lot with witchcraft folklore, too. Superstitions don't worry me or scare me. There is one thing that I do that's more of almost a mini ritual, really, than a superstition. But when I start a new book, I always create a big 3-ring binder, and I mock up a cover, even if it's just like kind of a little half-ass cover, but usually I make it look kind of nice. I mock up a cover with the title of the book and my name on it and some kind of art that represents the direction that I'm going in the book, and I put this notebook together. And I think it's more of a manifesting tool, really, than a superstition. But it's something that I do with books I've written and decks I've illustrated. And I use it to keep notes in and different stuff like that. So if you could possess any fantasy magic, what would your power be? That's a cool question, too. And I like that it differentiates between, you know, actual magic, obviously, and fantasy magic. Probably my knee-jerk reaction to that one is flying, because that would be totally badass. And because I love it when I get to fly in dreams, and I do occasionally, flying would be cool. I don't think I would make that decision lightly, and I think if I had, you know, was granted one extra super great power like that, I don't think that would be it. I'd want to mull that over for a minute. The skill that I would really want to have as far as fantasy magic is I would want to be a healer, you know, and I'm a Reiki master, so I do hands-on healing and distance healing and stuff like that. I think the idea of like being a healer like you would see in a movie where they put their hands on everything glows and then the gunshot wound is gone. I mean, that would be the coolest of all things, and I would use it all the time. Gosh, if somebody had a migraine, I mean, if you had that kind of power, if somebody had a migraine, you could just walk by and just go and they'd be like, ooh, thanks, that's gone. So I think that's the power that I would want. I would want to be like super hands-on healing power girl. Next. What is something random on your altar? Okay, so I saw a lot of people answer this question, and I think that some people, to them, it meant, what is something on your altar that you put there at random, that it doesn't have a purpose? And I don't really think that's the, and I don't know. I mean, I can't get inside little Cosmic Crow's head, obviously, but my interpretation of this question is just basically the modern vernacular of random being like, just pick one thing at random and show it to me that's on your altar. And so that's what I'm thinking that means. I don't think they mean something that you put on your altar that has no purpose. I think that's what she meant. So anyway, oh, hang on. I put it over here. I grabbed it before I started, and it's not over here. Where did I put it? Well, it's randomly not on my altar. Hang on. I had set this across the room because I think I was nervous because the cork on it is a little loosey-goosey. But it doesn't need to be tight because it's not that kind of thing. So I keep this on my altar to as one representation, one of the many natural representations. This is a representation of earth. This is a little bit of soil, hope you can see that, from Glastonbury Tor. And the stone is, I think the stone is from there too. I got this so long ago now, I'm having a moment where my brain's not working. This is why I write books right here, because it's like my brain's not working. The elevator is almost to the top floor, but it's kind of like between floors. So anyway, yeah, my friend Shay went to England, and she went to a lot of the sacred sites and had a really good time. And she brought me back a couple of little goodies, and this was one of them. She brought me back this soil, and it was just in, I think it was in a little bitty, like a little medicine bottle or something. Anyway, she brought this stuff back, so I put it in this pretty little bottle and made the little label, and it says Earth from Glastonbury Tor, because clearly I would forget that because that's how my brain works. And then I mounted the rock on top of the cork, and I keep that on my altar as an earth representation. You can smell the soil. Smells like not really anything because there's no liquid, and you've got to have a little water and soil to make this scent of petrichor. But there you have it. Anyway, that is a random thing that I grabbed from my altar that I did not leave there at random. If one of the YouTubers you watched was a genie and they could grant you 3 wishes within their power, who would it be and what wishes? And it can't be for more wishes. This question was like the toughest one for me, and I can't really wrap my head around why this question was so hard for me. I guess because I feel like I've always had to work super hard to accomplish anything, and maybe that's why, you know. I don't know, maybe it's the whole wish granting thing that kind of makes me go, you know. Maybe because I read the short story The Monkey's Paw, and I'm like, wishing makes me nervous because I think something's going to go horribly wrong. But honestly, I don't think any of the YouTubers that would do the whole monkey's paw routine on me, so pretty sure. So because I'm an Aquarian and I marched to my own drummer and I had to break the rules because that's how I roll, baby, I'm going to answer this in a different way. I'm going to answer this 3 YouTubers, and I will ask them, each one of them, to grant me 1 skill. I don't know why. It's just my weird self. And I had to write these down because I was like, it really did. This one just stymied me. I don't know why, but it totally did. So the first YouTuber that came to my mind was Mint Fairy, who I just freaking love. And every time I watch her videos, I just feel a little happier inside, you know? They do. Her videos just make me feel a little happier. And I'm like, okay, you know, if I'm having a day where I'm like, and then I'll put one of her videos on and I'm like, life is better, life is good. Look how happy she is. She's so chill and zen and straightforward. She's a super nice person, but she stands in her power, and I just love that about her. So I think I would ask for Mint Fairy to take her magic fairy wand and ding me on the head and grant me the ability to just be chill. Because I think she's chill, you know? I like her. Okay, the second one was Kellyanne Maddox, who, another one I just love. And she is just like, first of all, she just has so much energy, and she makes these great videos, and she just has so many good insights into personal development that I would love for Kellyanne Maddox to wave her magical fingers towards me and just help me to totally achieve my goals in personal development. So Kellyanne Maddox, I feel like that is her special superpower, and and I would be like, yes, please. The third one is Matt Oren, and he's not just a YouTuber that I've talked to a little bit. He's like a friend of mine, and we talk a lot back and forth. And I think that I would want him to cast his third eye my way and help me to open up and be more receptive to my intuition and trust my intuition better, because that's his skill. He's super, super psychic and a really nice person too. I think all these are really nice people. The truth is, I realize now, this is the reason I struggled with this question so much, because I feel like all of these things are things that I could achieve if I just work hard at it, right? So it's like, do I really want a genie to grant me those wishes, or do I want to just make them happen? Because I think that a lot of the things that you want to accomplish in life, you have to work hard to get them, because then you appreciate them more. You know what I mean? And those are all things actually that I'm working on about myself. All of those things. Mint Fairy, I'm working on that chill, and I'm working on that also. You know, she's chill, but at the same time she's like straightforward. You know. And I feel like she's a person who's going to totally call it like she sees it. And, you know, it's like, if you can't deal with it, sorry, because that's just how it is. And I love that. So yeah, that's something that I admire in her, that I would like to bring it more out in myself. Same thing with Kellyanne Maddox. You know what? The work that I'm talking about, the personal development stuff, she is helping with that, because I watch her videos and she's fantastic. And I do a lot of work on my own. I've done tons of shadow work over the past year, and it's still, or the past couple of years. But yeah, it still is a lot of work. And yeah, it'd be great if somebody could just wave their wand and make that become a reality for you. But no, we have to do the work. And then again, the same with Matt Oren and the psychic development stuff. And really the biggest roadblock that I think I've ever had for developing those abilities is this girl right here. And I am opening up so much more this year. I mean, the way that my mind has opened up so much more this year, and I've realized that in the past that I have picked up a lot of stuff psychically, and more than I thought I had. And I don't want to turn this into a book plug, but the truth is, Matt sent me his book to write a blurb for, The Psychic Witch. Psychic Witch. I think it's just called Psychic Witch. I don't think there's a the. Maybe there's a the. Anyway, I'll put it in the description. But I got to tell you guys, I poured over that book, and there's so much in there that's really good. So after I read it and wrote the blurb, I've actually been going back through the book and doing some of the work, and holy cow, you know, I mean, it all makes sense. It's a lot of innovative stuff that's in there, and I'm like loving it. The wish granting is awesome, but I feel like we also have to take responsibility for ourselves granting our own wishes. So maybe that's why that question was so challenging for me. Maybe I'm taking it too seriously. If you could instantly become an expert in any part of your craft or spirituality, what would it be? Okay, again, that takes me back to doing the hard work, right? So there's things that I want to do the hard work on. And I don't know that I necessarily want to be instantly good at those abilities. The one thing I would love to be instantly abilified. One thing that I would love to be instantly an expert on and instantly, because I kind of want to know how to do it, but not enough to actually do the work because it's too much like math to me, is astrology. I know probably more about astronomy than I do about astrology. I'm just the minute I start trying to, and I read the basic stuff and I get it, but getting into like doing charts and stuff, my head goes, oh, I can't even. It's too much. So yeah, I mean, if I could actually have a big moment, it would probably be astrology. And honestly, if I could be that good at astrology, maybe I could balance my checkbook too. When you die, what do you think will happen to you or your soul? We don't really know, do we? But I mean, I do believe that we have a spirit that's going to continue in one form or another. I mean, I could say what I want to have happen, but what I want to have happen versus what I know is going to happen, those are two different things. So I think that, but I think at the end of the day, what I really believe is that, yes, I think my soul will leave its body, and this will be just a shell that's left behind. I think that I'm going to get to travel through the universe and be part of the stars myself. That's kind of something that I guess I hope happens, I would love that. I think it would be amazing. I think that you gain a lot of knowledge and insight upon death. I think that you can look back at your life and realize the good things and the bad things, but without the judgment, without the feeling bad about things, and just realizing this was part of my journey. And so I think you get a little bit of a review. And then, I don't know, man. I really kind of do believe in reincarnation because I've met people who I'm like, I know I've known that person before. So I think that after that review and that time that we get to come back, and I do think that we're tied to people that we care about, and that we get to see them again and again. That's just something that I have in my heart. The last one, where do you see yourself spiritually in the next 5 years? Well, I'm working on all of those things. I think that I'm going to be a better tarot reader. I think I'm going to be a better intuitive witch. I think I'm going to definitely write more books. I want to share more things with people. And I think I'm coming out of my shell a lot more. I've worked a lot on my throat chakra, and my other chakras as well, doing the YouTube thing. Because it kind of put me outside of my comfort zone, but at the same time brought me back to who I really am inside. And I would love to be able to tour more. I haven't really had the finances for that, so maybe something will break loose and I'll be able to do more touring. I'd like to be able to go to different places and meet people and get to know the other people that are out there in the world, and share ideas and thoughts and stuff. So I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I guess that's it. That is the end of the Get to Know Your Witches hashtag. So thank you, Little Cosmic Crow. That was a really clever hashtag that you came up with. I really enjoyed it. I think this was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And I'll put links for like the people that I talked about and stuff like that down below. Also, while you're at it, drop me a comment. If you had any thoughts during this whole thing, drop me a comment and let me know your ideas. And make sure that you hit the like button, and make sure you subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe, because I'm going to keep doing these videos. I've got some more spells coming up. I've got a whole notebook full of ideas for videos, for spells, formulas, all different stuff. And now I've got to go because I've got a live tarot reading with a friend of mine. I will hopefully get this edited and posted later tonight, if not tomorrow, but that's more timey-wimey stuff that we've talked about before. I guess that's all. So cheers to you guys. Thank you for visiting me in my studio. Until next week, I hope that you guys have a good, magical, happy week. And remember to always be your magic.